things that make me believe in God. It's sex and basketball. Style. Pizzazz. I don't know why basketball can't feel like that.
It's going to be exciting.
John, how are you doing today?
Very good, thank you.
What part of Ireland are you in at the moment?
I'm out west.
Oh, I'm out east, so we'll have to meet up another time for a pint. It's no
I'll
problem.
see you halfway, yeah.
Yeah, we'll meet right in the middle. We get a good point in there. Congratulations on Winning Time. I watched the first 2 episodes ahead of this chat, and it feels very different to what I guess a lot of people would expect from a John C. Reilly character, in that he is so profoundly good at hustling, and he's so uniquely confident in, even when things aren't going his way, he almost gets his way just by smiling his way through, which is such an endearing character trait.
You think that's different than me, Rory?
No, not from John, not from John himself, but from, like, I guess the more.
To tell you the truth, the part reminds me of Boogie Nights. It reminds me of stuff that I've done before, but it's sort of an amalgamation of a lot of different things. You're right. It's definitely a leap in terms of like what you've seen me do before, but I think a good one. And I felt like I was really suited to this character in a lot of ways personally. Like the belief in the power of positive thinking and his refusal to hear negative thoughts or to have people try to slow him down. Like, that's very much the way I am too. Like, you don't come from the south side of Chicago and make it in LA and make 80 movies or whatever I've done without a lot of people underestimating you along the way, and a lot of people telling you, you won't do that, you won't be able to do this or that. And you just learn, the only person who really knows me is me. And the only person who knows what I can do is me. So it's these moments, like when you play a character like this, and shooting this show was like making 5 movies back to back. 10 hours of material, So having that kind of attitude, really, when you're coming into a big project like this, it's really what gets you through it. You just have to have faith every day that you can do it. And that was very much what Jerry must have been going through when this team was coming together.
Yeah, because the character of Jerry is such I would have thought, perhaps, like, incorrectly as it turns out, that like the NBA was such an American institution. But after The Last Dance blew up, like, globally, like Ireland, I had no idea there were so many Irish fans of the NBA until that documentary came out. And I think it will be the same for Winning Time, in that people have a naturally kind of positive interest in the sport, and maybe this story isn't as globally known as it might be within America. So it'll actually find a new audience here for people who might not know the intricacies of it. But what does you think about specifically Jerry's story, or even, the kind of drama behind the NBA that does give global audiences such an interest in it?
It's funny because, this story it's very well known in LA, and the rivalry between Magic and Larry Bird is very well known nationally in America, but the actual story behind the scenes of this team is not very well known in America. And the kind of amazing thing, as the show has been rolling out, and it's had great success already in America the first few weeks we've been airing there, the amazing thing is people, one after the other, people say, I don't even care about basketball. I don't know anything about basketball. I'm not even into sports. And I love this show. Because the show is really about what it feels like to be in those intense situations, not so much about what team won or what the statistics of a game were. It's more about, what does it feel like to be a kid from rural Michigan, come to LA, who's gifted at this sport, and like, what would that feel like? What would it feel like to suddenly have the attention of the entire country on you as you're trying to win these games? And what would it feel like to leverage everything, my character, to leverage everything you have in the whole world? It's like gambling, and Jerry loved to gamble. He was a great poker player. But I think there's something about, the show is called Winning Time, and who doesn't like to win, So I think audiences in Ireland and all over the world are going to find the human story of this really surprising, and they'll go into it maybe with some knowledge or a lot of knowledge or no knowledge of basketball. And I think the drama of it and the true story of this miracle that happened between 1979 and 1980, it's going to be really a compelling thing for people to check out, I think.
Well, one of the things that like makes it stand out a bit, and it's something that I know Adam McKay does a bit more with some of his recent movies, is breaking that fourth wall, is talking to the camera, and it's such a handy like narrative way to get points across to the audience in a shorthand instead of having to, it's tell don't show, which is great. But I understand that can be like Michael Shannon, I read, was like he had difficulties breaking that fourth wall. How was that for you? Did you find that, I guess, different or difficult?
Yeah, it's not for everybody it's not for everybody, because and myself, I've been doing movies since 1988. And like pretty much the golden rule of movies is don't look at the camera. So I think though playing Oliver Hardy and Stan and Ollie kind of prepped me for this thing of looking right in the camera. And, Adam uses that a lot in his films, and I personally find it a lot easier to talk to a character called the audience, to tell them some factual information or to give them some context than I much prefer that to having to get through some exposition in the monologue that explains the backstory, in this kind of, while I'm supposedly talking to someone else in the middle of a scene. Exposition is really, those are heavy buckets to carry.
Sure.
So this was a really great way to get the kind of context across to the audience, but it also brings the audience in a very intimate way. Like you're connected to me when I'm talking to you like that, and you're almost like a part of the show or part of the story. You're my witness. You see what I'm going through here, and it gives the show like an irreverence. It gives it an unpredictability, and it gives an intimacy, that would not, I know it wouldn't be there if we didn't have that in the show.
Yeah, no, I totally agree in that. I think it almost happens immediately. I think it might be one of the very first shots is you in the bed talking to us above you both. So it does immediately kind of, we are leaning forward to hear what Jerry has to say.
You're not sure he's talking to you yet, right?
That's true. You're like, is there someone else here?
He's trying to talk to the girl, but she's kind of asleep or whatever, yeah.
But just in regards to that, like I know Adam directed the first episode, and the last time you two worked together was, I think, Step Brothers, which was 14 years ago. Like for a proper.
I was in Anchorman too, but yes,
of course, as the ghosts of. But just in terms of an actual, I guess, big role being directed by Adam, and now 14 years later, this is a very different project.
Has it been that long? Wow,
I think so. Just in terms of working with him with a different tone, with a different, how has your relationship progressed in terms of who you both were working on Step Brothers to who you both are now working on this, what feels to me very different project?
Well, we both have matured in different ways. Adam has really come into his own as one of the greatest filmmakers in the world right now, I think. What he can do with storytelling and what he can do with the medium of film there's very few people who can do it like Adam. And in the 14 years, which I still can't believe it's been that long since Step Brothers, I've done a lot of work that has kind of empowered me to take bigger chances. And I've been given more leading roles since I did Step Brothers, and I'm just more used to that leadership position. It took me a long time to accept that people saw me as a leader, but as I get older, you realize, I'm on a movie set or television set, and I look around like I'm the oldest person on the set usually, and I'm 100% of the time I'm the most experienced person on the set, just by the sheer number of films that I've done. So I've had to really kind of own it, all right, well, this is my position. This is not that I get lost in get drunk with power of being in that position, but you do have to honor it, and you have to honor people's view of you, you know. And this Jerry is a leader. He's like, you know, a real leader in this show. They wouldn't have been able to pull it off, I don't think, if they didn't have Jerry saying, we can do it. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. How can we do it? What can we do? Like, what are our moves here? You know, like, I love that. And I love striding onto the set every day, and that shirt open, those glasses and that gold chain, be like, all right, everybody, you know, like, even if people were tired or we had a rough day before or whatever it is, you're like, let's go, baby, time to go. You know, like, that positivity is just really infectious, you know. And I think the crew and the cast just really loved that I would come barnstorming in there, you know, like, refuse to be, you know, told to settle down, you know.
Well, yeah, like it means a lot, I guess, to be that person who elevates the mood. Like, if you are, say, the most senior person there, then you are kind of setting the tone for everyone. So if you come in a happy mood, then everyone would be like, well, I've got to raise it up to meet him.
Some of these actors on the show is some of their first work, so they literally don't know, how is this supposed to go, you know. And I realized, like, I have a big responsibility there to show a good example, to show, you know, a constructive way of moving through the day of filmmaking.
Well, I noticed, again, because it's Adam McKay, and because your character is such a fantastic hustler in this, and Adrian Brody's involved in this, and he was in Succession. Like, it kind of clued into my head. I was like, surely John C. Reilly could appear in an episode of Succession as a fantastic modern day Wall Street hustler. Has that never come up?
I'm definitely a hustler. I mean, you don't get as far as I have in this business without hustling and adapting and challenging yourself and trying to be different things. But I don't know, like, maybe I would appear on there as Dr. Jerry Buss. That would be funny if he rolled through, because, you know, Dr. Buss lived to 2014. I'm not sure when, to tell you the truth, I haven't seen Succession, but I assume it's still going.
Pretty modern day, yeah.
Or what the time period is, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't let you go without discussing some Irish stuff, because you were like our St. Patrick's Day icon last week. You were fronting the parade.
I really did embrace it, didn't I?
Yeah. You got to do what very few people in the planet get to do, which is both, like, front Ireland's biggest parade, and the biggest one we've had in 3 years because of everything that's been going on, and then appeared on the Late Late Show and sang Raglan Road. And I cannot tell you the amount
Wild Rover.
And Wild Rover, I beg your pardon, of course. So, like, you are having the quintessential ultimate Irish experience. It's incredible just to sit back and watch how much fun you appear to be having, just living your best Irish life.
I honestly was pinching myself all week. I just couldn't believe, because I've invested in Ireland as a person, you know, like, I come back here a lot and I love Ireland. I love, you know, what I realized this time, and yes, it was a good crack and all that. And of course, getting to be on the Late Late, to have the attention of the entire nation like that. You can't do that in America. There's no television show in America that gets you 70% of the country watching. So it was a really special thing. I've, like, you know, I've got the ear of the nation here. Like, what do I want to say? And I felt like it was a great moment to reflect back what is great about Ireland. You know, there's a certain cynicism here with all the Paddy stuff, you know, and especially the kind of romantic notions that Irish Americans have about Ireland. But, you know, so many people have come up to me since that Late Late appearance that I had the nerve to sing, you know, and that I said things like, you know, St. Patrick's Day is not just about drinking. It's about a celebration of Irish culture. And it belittles Ireland to say that it's only about drinking. People, that really resonated with people. And, you know, as I moved through Ireland after St. Patrick's Day, so many people came up to me, young, old, and in between, saying, like, I really loved what you said. You know, you're a beautiful singer, and I love hearing that. But more important to me was the fact that people noticed what I said about the importance of Irish culture and poetry and music and literature. And what I realized, I always thought like, well, I'm Irish American, I'm from Chicago, that's why I love Ireland. But this time, in this world moment, when we're looking at the threat to democracy in so many different places, and the real dark moment for some people all over the world, it was a little bit tricky going to do a parade in Ireland when all of that was going on. But I made the decision, joy is an important part of human strength. And we can't let the darkness of the world extinguish something like the St. Patrick's Day festival in Dublin. People really needed that. We needed it. And what I realized in this moment with democracy in the world, what I realized was that Ireland's DNA has liberation at the center of it. Liberation, self-reliance, freedom, democracy. You've got a great little democracy here, So sometimes it takes a cheeky American to say these things, And I was happy to be that for people.
Now, again, it was just seeing you enjoy yourself at the apex of what our Irish culture is perceived to be, and also saying that beautiful thing you just said there, and also singing so beautifully on national television, of course.
I got the biggest hug. I got the biggest hug from Michael Higgins when I arrived on the grandstand. I thought, oh, hello, Mr. President. I took my cap off. Hello, Mr. President. I was put my hand out, and he just wrapped me up with a bear hug, squeezed me like that. I said, oh man, he's a great hugger. I'll say that. I really felt like the whole country was hugging me when Michael Higgins embraced me like that.
Well, deep down we were, John. Thank you so much for your time today, and we will meet in the middle of the country and get that pint.
Sounds good. Nice to talk to you, Roy.
Select Magic Johnson.
This is bigger than the game.
What do you want for your future?
Everything.
It's showtime!